Chris, obviously, you kind of talked about a little bit on Saturday that the scores indicate like you guys are playing really good defense, which you are, but obviously the opponent field goal percentage is something that you want to get fixed. Now that you've had a chance to take a look at the film, is it something you're seeing in film that teams are shooting a high percentage against you, or?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's if you get the win or the loss. Obviously, that's the most important result, important number, if you will, or stat. But like you mentioned, we've had some better defensive outings the last couple games, more to our liking of what we're used to, more to what we're wanting as a staff. But there's still some numbers that just make you raise your eyebrows. And every team in America, looks at stats, either raw data or analytic stats, and they see it too. And it probably gets them excited to play against us because we're just not defending shots very well. I mean, we've got to do a better job of, putting it simply, of making the other team miss, not hoping they miss and doing something to make them miss. Once they shoot it, we're pretty good, at checking out and tracking the ball down. Percentage-wise, defensive rebounding on the year, although the last couple of games that hasn't been quite as good. But so we're trying to figure it out. Certainly in the end, it's just the old contest. We've got to make a miss. We've got to contest better. We've got to be closer to them. We've got to work on our technique of contesting all shots and certainly being closer to our men. So we definitely got work to do. It's still a work in progress, but at the end of the day, you got to figure out a way to win. And then, when you look at, the important factors, the thing that's sticking out to me is we're forcing more turnovers than we've ever done. Most of my teams haven't been a high, turnover team. And the other thing is we're getting to the line more. That old cliche or measurement that coaches have used since the game has been invented was, make more free throws than the other team attempts. And we've made 112, and our opponents have attempted 115. And that's not something we talk about, because my teams normally foul, more than the average team because of playing aggressively. But for whatever reason, this year's team is using that to their advantage thus far.
You mentioned free throw shooting. That was something that was not a strength for you guys last year. I think you guys at one point were one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the country. But this year, it seems like you've turned the tide on that. A couple guys, I think at the top of my head, Johnny McCants is shooting a pretty good percentage in his first couple games from the line. I think you guys were 15 to 16 at one point on Saturday. Missed a couple, late. But is that something you guys have kind of keyed in on this season to improve the free throw shooting?
Not really. I thought last year was more of an anomaly. I just, for whatever reason, we didn't have a bunch of good free throw shooters. And this year, going into the season, I felt like we'd shoot a better percentage. We had to. There's no way we were going to finish in the bottom 10 of free throw shooting. Just we had too many good players, too many good free throw shooters, and we're still doing the same things we did last year. We worked on it more last year, to be honest with you, than we did this year. And I think we're above 70% now, and hopefully that number will continue to climb.
Coach, perception-wise, what did Saturday's win mean for your program?
It was a game that was circled on our calendar because of the obvious. Having a Power 5 team in your building just doesn't happen very often. And, so it was important for us to, play with the big boys, if you will. And, after the game, I didn't notice it until I watched the video, but our guys were excited. I mean, they were excited for one another. They celebrated. They rushed the court. Guys were jumping around. Our locker room was nuts, and I wanted that. It was an important game for us, and we put a lot of time and effort into it. We didn't shy away from it, and we expected to win the game. And the way they reacted, I loved it. I tell our guys all the time, I want you to play with emotion. We worked too hard at this game, and the games are supposed to be fun and show your emotion in a positive way. And when that buzzer sounded, when I watched the video, I was elated to see them, just the joy and the happiness that they had after the game, because that told me that, it meant that much to them. And certainly we're in the midst of a heck of a 4-game stretch, but, when you win, you've got to celebrate those wins because they're hard to get.
Have you seen any difference in UNM from when you played them a couple weeks ago to now? Like, obviously, they're a very good offensive team. I think they're in the top 10 in field goal percentage. Big win for them on Saturday at Bradley. Have you seen any difference in them since you last played them?
First thing is I told our team something's got to give. Our effective field goal percentage defense is atrocious. It's almost 300. I mean, I just never dreamt that we'd be there at this point in the season. And their effective offensive field goal percentage is one of the tops in the country. So something's got to give. You know, we've got to do better, or if they continue to shoot like that against us tomorrow night, they're probably going to win the game. So that's the first thing that we're looking at. And then to address your question specifically, they have changed. They've amped up their press, their pressure, their trapping. Basically, they've committed to their system. I felt like from watching all their games prior to playing the first time that they still were in their system, but it wasn't full go. And they've certainly amped it up since we played them last. You could tell against Bradley that it was on. They were going to trap everywhere, all over the floor, make, miss, side out, wherever the ball was taken in, kind of like they did most of the year last year. And for whatever reason, they chose not to do it as much in the early games, but they're committed now, and certainly it helped them win the game on the road. I mean, that was a heck of a win for them. Bradley is off to a great start. It's a hard place to play. It's a good program, a good coach, and they went in there and handled them pretty easily after the first 5 minutes of the game. So they're coming in here with great momentum. You know, obviously their only loss is to us, and I'm sure a lot of them, and rightfully so, feel like they should have won the game. You know, they had us on. You know, they had us. You know, with the ball down 2, and we almost gave it away. So we're going to play the best version of them in the early part of the season.
Mohamed played his most minutes, probably his best game against UNM. Was it a matter of matchups? Does he match up well against the Lobos? What did you see, and what do you foresee for Tuesday?
You know, Mohamed is still it's a learning process for him. You know, you just kind of never know what you're going to get, to be honest with you. It's like practice. There's days where you're like, wow. And then there's days where like, man, you've been playing basketball for like 2 years. And I love him. I think he's going to be a great player. And he's a great kid. He's a hard worker. I'm so glad he's in our program. And I know he's a little frustrated. But if you knew how badly he wanted it and how hard he worked, everybody would be rooting for him. And I think eventually he's going to get there. But right now, because of our depth, you know, we put him in the game, and he's certainly going to get his opportunities. But if he's playing well, he usually continues to play well. If it goes south a little bit early, then he has a hard time, you know, getting his confidence going again. So, you know, hopefully he'll play well early and give himself confidence, give us confidence that we can continue to play him, you know, throughout the game. But it's like every game with us. You know, there's 4 or 5 guys that we're pretty sure they're going to be playing significant minutes. And then there's 5 or 6 of them that basically have to produce when they get their minutes. And that's a little bit pressurized for them, but it is what it is. And that's how our team is put together at this point. And it may change as the season progresses. But right now, it's about productivity. You know, are you playing well? Is the score going the right direction? And it wasn't anything with matchups or anything like that. He just got off to a great start. He made that first step back jumper, and away he went. He was very aggressive. He took care of the basketball. He was defending, and I think eventually he's going to have some big games for us. But he just got to be a little more consistent for us.
AJ had a career night against UNM a couple weeks ago, and obviously you don't really kind of know this till going to the game, but are you expecting that, obviously he's got their attention, and you know, Paul Weir knows AJ really well, obviously too, but are you expecting that he's going to get a lot of attention, something different, you know, on him in this game?
Yeah, I don't coach your team. I don't know how they're going to prepare, how they're going to play in. I would imagine they'll probably play him pretty straight up. I don't think they're going to treat him like, you know, he's a 6 for 6 a night 3-point shooter, because his numbers don't say that. He just got into a zone, and, you know, a lot of players are capable of doing that, and it was his night. And, you know, he hasn't shot the ball like that since, but he's certainly capable of it. But I don't anticipate them, you know, really game planning, you know, like he is. That's the norm for him, if you will.
The opportunity to sweep your rival, talk about the rise, if needed, of intensity for this ball game.
Yeah, the sweep thing will have nothing to do with it. You know, each game is its own entity and will unfold, you know, as it does organically. And we won't talk about that. You know, we've really focused on, you know, starting our preparation yesterday with the team, and certainly today is a big day with a quick turnaround and playing a team that plays a unique system. You know, that's the beauty in how they play is you just don't see it very often. So for us, the advantage is we play them twice a year, obviously, and we know that, so we have a little more time to prepare for it, and the second time is a little bit easier. But in terms of our focus and our motivation, I mean, we know what this game means to everybody. We know what it means to this community. We know what it means to this fan base, and our guys are well aware of that. I mean, both teams will be, through the roof. It'll be more about managing emotions and making sure that we just, play basketball and kind of do what we do and not try to, go off the reservation, if you will, and start trying to play the crowd or do something that you're not normally doing. But we'll be plenty motivated.
The atmosphere there was pretty high.
It was great.
You get to return the favor now with the intensity and the atmosphere here.
Yeah, I hope so. Our student section's been unbelievable all year long. I've been so impressed with the turnout that we've had. I appreciate those men and young women taking their time to come support this team, and all we can do is continue to try to put out the best product that we can. And like I've said since I've arrived, I mean, the only thing that I'll promise is that if you come watch us play, that you'll never walk away, kicking the can, muttering under your breath that these kids aren't competing, they're not giving everything, they're not the type of team that I want to be around or represent our community. And I think for the most part, we've done that. We've got a blue collar mentality, and we play really hard. We're not a fancy team. It's not complex. We just try to play basketball the right way. And I think, our attendance overall has increased since we've been here. And certainly every coach in America yearns for a big-time home court advantage, and there's only a couple handfuls of programs, that are selling out every night across the country. And, the biggest thing for me is, just keep doing what we're doing and continue to try to recruit more fans and keep the fans that we have. And but at the end, these students are really making a nice end zone for us, and we recognize it every game.
And let's get loud, right?
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a good environment. I can't imagine it's not going to be.
Any other questions for Coach?
Eli, is he still day-to-day?
He's day-to-day. We're hopeful. We're hopeful that he'll be able to, be available during the game. But, it's just day-to-day. And even if he is, I mean, he hasn't practiced, for over a week, so his conditioning, his timing will probably be off. But, it would be the first time all year where we've had, every eligible player available on game night, which would be nice.
I know this is something you can talk about, Chris, but I think, kind of going off of the student section, obviously it is finals week this week, and I think you guys are doing something tomorrow morning on campus to try and kind of, I guess, like get some more interest in the student section. Can you talk about what you guys are doing tomorrow morning?
Yeah, we're doing a deal from 9 to 1 in the Corbett Center. Basically, we're going to provide coffee and juice and donuts for the students, and I'll be there from 10 to 11, and players will be there in shifts from 9 to 1. And, it's just to remind them, that we play that evening, and I know it's finals week, and it's cram week, and time is obviously really important. So we're hopeful that, we can get a bunch of students around their studying and final schedule to come support their fellow students like they have been all year long. But it's just a way for us to say thank you as well. Not just a reminder, but to say thank you for, what you've done so far, and that, we want to continue to build this relationship as we go forward.
Coach, not looking ahead to Kansas at all, but how many family and friends do you anticipate to have in Kansas City this weekend?
Yeah, I don't have a number on it. I put my wife in charge of that until Wednesday, and then, I'll deal with it and try to figure it out. But, obviously we lived in Wichita for 9 years, and fortunately the Shockers play that day, so that will eliminate, a bunch of people from making the short drive up there. But we do have a throng of people coming from that way, I know for sure. And then, I grew up about 5 hours from there, and so there'll be plenty of friends and family that will be down in Kansas City for the weekend.
And you know Kansas's program really well. Do you know Bill Self?
Yeah, that's kind of how we got the game. And the former AD, Shane Zinger, was my boss at Illinois State. He's not there anymore, but and then they have a couple assistant ADs that I worked with at Wichita State, and then obviously I know Coach Self and his staff, and they gave us the choice to play at Allen Fieldhouse or Sprint Center, and that took me all of about 0.5 seconds to decide where we're going to play the game.
Chris, kind of piggybacking off that too, like obviously you are playing the number 2 team in the country on Saturday, but looking at it from, I guess, an outside, like obviously it's a great opportunity for the university. You're going to be on ESPN2 Saturday night. You said playing in Sprint Center. So just from that, like how great is an opportunity to, I guess, represent the university and get on national TV on Saturday night against a blue blood program?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's certainly going to be awesome until they tip the ball, and then we're going to have our hands full. But it's a great stage for us. Saturday night, 7:30 on ESPN2, and so, unless they're playing a game, I mean, most people, when you play an afternoon game in our business, in our industry, are watching a game, either at home or celebrating a win with their family and friends and fans. And, it's a great stage for us. And obviously we're playing a blue blood. And certainly we're focused on Tuesday. And I have not watched 1 minute of video of Kansas. I want to stay in a good mood until that game's over tomorrow night. And then we'll dive in like every other game. And we're going to try to put our players in position to give them the best chance to win. And obviously we're going to go down there to compete and try to win the game and just see what happens.